Thank you very much, Robin. Now, we know not everybody has their food, so continue on through. But we've got to start the program because we're on a streaming schedule. So I'm going to turn the time over to Megan Stanton, who is the head of our awards committee. Let's give Megan a big hand.
All right. Hi, friends. My name is Megan Stanton. Am I speaking loudly enough for all of you to hear me in the back? All right. I'm trying to use my teacher voice here. So I am a member of the John Wimmer Historical Association board, and I act as the award chair. I am thrilled to be here today to MC the first portion of this award luncheon. For those of you who are award recipients, I have a lot of instructions for you about what we're going to be doing next. When I announce you as an award winner, please come over here to my left or to your right in the audience. There are a few stairs for you to climb. Be careful with the top step, it's higher than you might expect. Walk to Casey, who will give you your award, and we'll take a photograph with you. Then you get to stand with Casey while I make you feel awkward and share some of the committee's praise of your work. And after that, I'm going to yield the floor to you so that if you would like to make a comment, you may do so. Then after that, you're going to take these same stairs back down, and you're going to get one more photograph of yourself with your certificate if you would like to. I think that's all that I have for those kinds of physical instructions. So with all of that said, I don't want to take too much more of your time. I know that you're all trying to get some food right now. You are interested in having your lunch and your own conversations. So let's keep this going at a pretty good clip. All right. So the awards that I am announcing today are made possible by the generosity of multiple sponsors: the Smith Pettit Foundation, Dan and Beth Whittemore, Megan Stanton, Greg and Cynthia Koford, Jerry and Sandra Mogg, and Joe Geisner and the late Susan Geisner. I thank our sponsors for their support. All right, can I click a button? Okay. As a quick overview, we have 3 book awards and 2 article awards to give out today, and Casey will have some other awards to share later on as well. I'd like to thank our sponsors once more for making these awards possible. Our award recipients were selected by 2 committees. I am grateful to our committee members for the time they dedicated to reviewing nominated materials and meeting together to make selections. Our book committee included Kyle Bashirs, John Dinger, Makoto Hunter, and Mel Johnson. Our article committee included Bryce Blake-Nagel, Julianne Briscoe, Nancy Ross, and Robin Spears. These committee members, by the way, made my work as an award chair so much easier. I was able to leave most of the hard decisions to them involved in selecting award recipients. So I am so appreciative of these very smart readers. Thank you for your service, committee members. Okay, so I would like to start by sharing the nominees for the Smith Pettit Best Book Award. The books nominated for this category are Marianne Meets the Mormons, Representations of Mormonism in 19th Century France, written by Heather Belknap, Corey Cropper, and Daryl Lee, and published by the University of Illinois Press. Method Infinite, Freemasonry and the Mormon Restoration, written by Cheryl L. Bruno, Joe Steve Swick III, and Nicholas S. Latursky, and published by Greg Koford Books. Amanda Hendricks Komodo's Imperial Zions, Religion, Race, and Family in the American West and the Pacific, published by the University of Nebraska Press. Caroline Klein's Mormon Women at the Crossroads, Global Narratives and the Power of Connectedness, published by the University of Illinois Press. K. Mormons, Exceptionally Queer, Mormon Peculiarity and U.S. Nationalism, published by the University of Minnesota Press. The Smith Pettit Best Book Award recipients are Heather Belknap, Corey Cropper, and Daryl Lee for Marianne Meets the Mormons, Representations of Mormonism in 19th Century France, published by the University of Illinois Press. All right, so this book examines the history of French interest in Mormonism, focusing in particular on the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The authors argue that French people used the idea of Mormonism to their own ends. By writing and talking about Mormonism, these historical actors found ways to critique their own French politics and culture. Both members and non-members of the Restoration movement in France were involved in these conversations. Marianne Meets the Mormons pulls us as a reading audience in the direction of global Mormon studies. The book encourages us to think of creative approaches to working on the history of a religion, its people, and also the surrounding peoples too. One of the book's authors, Heather Belknap, is with us today. Heather, would you like to make a comment?
On behalf of all three of us, the Three Musketeers, as we've been calling ourselves for the last 10 or so years as we've been working on this, we'd like to thank the John Whitmore Historical Association and all those in the community for being so welcoming and supportive of our work. Our book hopes to speak to those who deal with Mormon studies as well as French studies, and one of our favorite things to point out is that the restoration, from both a Mormon perspective and a French perspective, happened at the same time, because those of you who know something about French history know that the restoration period is 1815 to 1830, and the restoration of the gospel of Jesus Christ happened during that time as well. We're, again, just so humbled and honored by this, and thanks again for your generosity.
All right, Heather, thank you. Okay, so the Whittemore Best Documentary History Award honors scholarship that makes historical documents and archival materials easier to understand and interpret. Our nominees for the Whittemore Best Documentary History Award are Liverpool to Great Salt Lake, the 1851 Journal of Missionary George D. Watt, edited by Legene Purcell Carruth and Ronald G. Watt, and published by the University of Nebraska Press. In Sacred Loneliness, The Documents, edited by Todd M. Compton and published by Signature Books. From the Joseph Smith Papers Project, Documents, Volume 13, August to December 1843, edited by Christian K. Heimberger, Jeffrey D. Mahas, Brent M. Rogers, Mason K. Allred, J. Chase Kirkham, and Matthew S. McBride, and published by the Church Historians Press. The Whittemore Best Documentary History Award recipient is Todd M. Compton for In Sacred Loneliness, The Documents, published by Signature Books. All right, so most everyone here is familiar with the original In Sacred Loneliness, which identified some of the wives of Joseph Smith Jr. and provided biographical narratives of them. This new book, In Sacred Loneliness, The Documents, gives us additional opportunity to learn about these women through their own voices. The book pulls together a variety of documents, including correspondence, diaries, memoirs, interviews, and even a blessing. These documents each were written in or voiced by the women themselves and focused specifically on the women's experiences. There are also a few other documents from other voices that are still trying to capture some of what these women experienced as well. Altogether, these documents allow readers to better understand the lives of Joseph Smith Jr.'s wives. Todd Compton is not present at our luncheon today, but Barbara Jones Brown is available to accept the award on behalf of him and Signature Books. Barbara?
On behalf of Signature Books and Todd Compton, I just want to thank JWHA for bestowing this award. It's not easy to be a Joseph Smith Papers Project documentary history, so we're especially honored. And I'm grateful that Todd has done this work on this because it brings to life the voices of the women in their own words and tells their side of the story. If you'd like to pick up a copy, I have some at our table. But thank you very much to JWHA for this honor.
All right, Barbara, thank you. All right, in anthologies, editors address a single topic by bringing multiple authors' voices into one book. Anthologies enable authors and readers to share innovative research and approaches, often in answering new research questions or in advancing the work initiated at a conference. Clearly, anthologies are an important resource for restoration studies, authors, and readers. Our nominees for Best Anthology are Open Canon, Scriptures of the Latter-day Saint Tradition, edited by Christine Elise Blythe, Christopher James Blythe, and Jay Burton, and published by the University of Utah Press. Restorations, Scholars in Dialogue from Community of Christ and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, edited by Andrew Bolton and Casey Paul Griffiths, and published by Deseret Book with the Religious Studies Center and John Whitmer Books. DNA Mormon, Perspectives on the Legacy of Historian D. Michael Quinn, edited by Benjamin E. Park and published by Signature Books. Envisioning Scripture, Joseph Smith's Revelations in Their Early American Contexts, edited by Colby Townsend and published by Signature Books. The Best Anthology Award recipients are Christine Elise Blythe, Christopher James Blythe, and Jay Burton for Open Canon, Scriptures of the Latter-day Saint Tradition, published by the University of Utah Press. As we all know, Joseph Smith Jr. established an open canon when he published the Book of Mormon and began publishing his Revelations. The book, Open Canon, is ambitious in its efforts to understand how multiple denominations originating from Joseph Smith Jr.'s church have approached canonical texts. The book, Open Canon, is analytical. Its editors and authors treat the history and perspective of different denominations as serious matters that are worthy of investigation and study. One of the book's editors, Jay Burton, is with us today. Jay, would you like to make a comment?
So on behalf of my two co-editors, Chris and Christine Blythe, and all the people who submitted articles and wrote articles for our chapters for this book, we thank you. So many of the ideas for our book and the book itself were hatched in the meetings of this conference, and so it's been a good ride with all of you, and we're grateful for this award.
Jay, thank you. Okay, the Greg Koford Best Historical Article Award honors scholarship published in some of our best journals, including the John Whitmer Historical Association Journal and the Journal of Mormon History. This year's nominated articles spanned a wide range of topics, time periods, and methodologies. We received many nominations, all worthy, so I do need to warn you to pace yourselves. This is going to be a two-part list. Our nominees are Mason Kamana Allred's Developing the Dead, Spirit Photography, Mormonism, and Noise, published in the Journal of Mormon History. Laura K. Anderson and Robert Swanson's A Complete Struggle, Zion Building and Women Connected to the Mormon Battalion, published in the Journal of Mormon History. LeGrand R. Curtis Jr., Benjamin C. Pickles, and Courtney A. Worthen for their The Hill Cumorah, Restoring a Sacred Site, published in the Journal of Mormon History. Brooke R. Lefever's Schisms Like Revolutions Never Go Backwards, The Godbeites, the Columbell, and the Anti-Polygamy Debate, published by the John Whitmer Historical Association Journal. Jacob W. Olmsted, Josh Probert, and Elwin C. Robeson for Myths and Realities of the Salt Lake Temple Foundation, published in the Journal of Mormon History. Ronald Romig and Lachlan Mackay for Hidden Things Shall Come to Light, the visual image of Joseph Smith Jr., published by the John Whitmer Historical Association Journal. Mark L. Staker and Donald L. Enders for Joseph Smith Sr.'s China Adventure, published in the Journal of Mormon History. The Greg Koford Best Historical Article Award recipient is Brooke Lefever for Schisms Like Revolutions Never Go Backwards, The Godbeites, the Columbell, and the Anti-Polygamy Debate, published by the John Whitmer Historical Association Journal. All right, this article examines the history of the Godbeites from the perspective of outsiders. The author argues that people who were not part of the Restoration movement hoped that the Godbeites would modernize the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and that this modernization would eliminate polygamy from within. The article both supports and challenges the findings of other scholars who have studied the Godbeites. Brooke is with us today. Would you like to make a comment?
Yes, I'm very grateful, very honored to be receiving this award. Casey read an earlier version of this paper when I was just an undergrad that I submitted to the Religious Studies Symposium at BYU, so it's fun to kind of see that come around. And then it's really, Bill Moraine is the reason that I published this. He asked me to submit it multiple times, so I'm very grateful to him and very grateful to John Whitmer. Thank you.
Brooke, thank you. Last but not least, our final award is for the Susan Geisner and Jerry Mogg Best Theological Article. Our nominated materials showed a variety of methodological approaches, as they were published in excellent journals both within and without Mormon studies, as well as in one anthology. As a warning, we are looking at another two-part list for this award. Our nominees are John Hilton III, Emily K. Hyde, and Megan Cutler for An Atoning Priority in the Hymns of Calvary and Gethsemane, published in the Journal of Mormon History. Janice Johnson for Lucy Mack Smith and Her Sacred Text, published in Open Canon, Scriptures of the Latter-day Saint Tradition, which was edited by Christine Elise Blythe, Christopher James Blythe, and Jay Burton, and published by the University of Utah Press. Thomas W. Murphy's An Insufficient Canon, the Popol Vuh, Book of Mormon, and Other Scriptures, published in the Journal of Mormon History. Noel B. Reynolds for Covenant Language in Biblical Religions and the Book of Mormon, published in BYU Studies. Christina Rossetti's O My Mother, Mormon Fundamentalist Mothers in Heaven and Women's Authority, published in Dialogue, a Journal of Mormon Thought. Charlotte Scholl Schertz for A Queer Heavenly Family, Expanding Godhood Beyond a Heterosexual Cisgender Couple, published in Dialogue, a Journal of Mormon Thought. Stephen O. Smoot's Apologetics and Antiquity, Book of Mormon Reception, 1830 to 1844, published in the Journal of Mormon History. Joseph M. Spencer's Books of Mormon, Latter-day Saints, and the Book of Mormon, published in Open Canon, Scriptures of the Latter-day Saint Tradition, which was edited by Christine Elise Blythe, Christopher James Blythe, and Jay Burton, and published by the University of Utah Press. Colby Townsend's The Robe of Righteousness, Exilic and Post-Exilic Isaiah in the Book of Mormon, published in Dialogue, a Journal of Mormon Thought. Jordan T. Watkins for Neither Should They Be Dimmed Any More by Time, the Book of Mormon, the Bible, and Joseph Smith's Prophetic Presentism, published in 19th century contexts. The Susan Geisner and Jerry Mogg Best Theological Article Award recipient is Thomas W. Murphy for An Insufficient Canon, the Popol Vuh, Book of Mormon, and other scriptures, published in the Journal of Mormon History. The article focuses on the Popol Vuh, a text held sacred by many Guatemalan people, including members of the Restoration Movement. Both the Book of Mormon and the Popol Vuh were extra-canonical texts within their broader national or colonial contexts. This article skillfully interweaves multiple approaches to these sacred texts, including from members of the Community of Christ and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, both in the United States and in Guatemala. Thomas is here today with us at the luncheon. Would you like to make a comment?
Thank you. That was quite a list. I'm honored to be selected. I'd like to thank, of course, the John Whitmer Historical Association. My first academic conference was 1994, where I presented on peyote and the word of wisdom at a John Whitmer Association conference. So I'm glad to be back, and thanks for the support for this. I really want to especially thank the Cachiquel and Quiche Mayan Mormons in Guatemala who taught me that Latter-day Saints were not the first to open the canon. That in fact in the 16th century, Quiche Mayans had opened the canon with the production of the Popol Vuh. And that these followers of the Restoration movements in Guatemala saw as scripture. I'd also like to acknowledge the Comanche people on whose land we are meeting and who welcomed Lyman White's party here to Texas, and the Haudenosaunee people that I spoke about earlier in a companion paper to this presentation. And lastly, I want to acknowledge my wife, Carrie, who is here with me. 5 years ago, she had a stroke. I had to learn all over again to walk, sit up, talk, everything, and today she's in heels.
Thomas, thank you. I have a little bit more that I would like to cover for everybody before I turn everything over to Casey. All right, so I would like to offer our thanks and praise to the book presses and journals that allow us to share and read about topics that we hold near and dear to our hearts. This year, I'd like to thank the presses who published our nominated books: the Church Historians Press, Deseret Book, Greg Koford Books, John Whitmer Books, the Religious Studies Center, Signature Books, the University of Illinois Press, the University of Minnesota Press, the University of Nebraska Press, and the University of Utah Press. Also, I'd like to thank the journals and press that published this year's nominated articles: BYU Studies, Dialogue, a Journal of Mormon Thought, the Journal of Mormon History, the John Whitmer Historical Association Journal, 19th Century Contexts, and once again, the University of Utah Press. Please accept my final thanks today to our award sponsors, to everyone who made a nomination this year, to our publishers, and to our authors. Don't forget to visit our book exhibit, where you can purchase some of the books and articles that I mentioned today. Casey, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Megan. It is my pleasure to recognize a few more people, including our scholarship recipients for our conference, who are as follows: Andrew Ankerson, Michelle Grabeck, Makoto Hunter, and Robin Spears. Andrew and Michelle are unable to be with us, but if Makoto and Robin would come up here, we'd like to recognize them. We also want to recognize change that happens on our board from time to time and recognize a few members of our board who've completed their term of service and give them some recognition. So first, we'd like to recognize Myra Elliott, who served as on our board of director from 2020 to 2023. Myra? And Myra, you can come up if you want to, and we have an award for you right here. Let's clap her up here so it doesn't get awkward. We'd also like to recognize Megan Stanton, who's serving on our board of directors as well. Thank you, Megan, very much. Now it's my pleasure to give one last award, and this person we're particularly grateful for the service they have put in. We'd like to present a special presidential award to William D. Moraine for his service as the editor of the Journal. And Bill, we contacted your wife and asked her to send her favorite picture of you, and this is what she sent. So it's clear that she's only interested in you physically, from what we can see. And stay right there for just a minute. She did send a more dignified picture as well, which probably captures Bill's service a little bit better. We wanted to take a minute and highlight Bill. So we also asked your wife to write a little note, and then we have an additional word to give you. William D. Moraine, MD, specialized in plastic and reconstructive surgery while practicing at Dartmouth Medical School for 20 years. For 16 years during practice and into retirement, he was editor of the Annals of Plastic Surgery, one of the two prominent journals in the field, and while practicing at Dartmouth, he explored the archives of the medical school and discovered that Nathan Smith, MD, founder of the Dartmouth Medical School, had performed 3 severely painful surgeries on Joseph Smith Jr.'s leg when Smith was only 7 years old. With description of these experiences, further research about the life of Joseph Smith, as well as research into the aftermath of childhood trauma, Bill wrote The Sword of Laban, Joseph Smith Jr., and the Disassociated Mind. Thus, Bill was well prepared to assume the editorship of the John Whitmer Historical Association Journal in 2012. Following retirement from medical practice in 1996, Bill moved to his mother's hometown of Lamoni, Iowa, and married Sherry Mesley, his Graceland sweetheart. And let's give Sherry a hand, too. Let's recognize her. Lamoni has benefited from Bill's service. Bill served as president of the Lamoni School Board and was on the Decatur County Hospital Board. He presently serves as secretary of the Lamoni Development Corporation, the Decatur County Development Corporation, and Infinity Health, Lamoni's Community Health Center. He's a member of the Decatur County Rotary Club, and you know him as Colonel Sanders at JWHA events. He also played the part of the grandfather in the musical Guys and Dolls and the role of the Old Shepherd in Shakespeare's A Winter's Tale. And we have this special award to present to Bill for his service. Let's give him one big round of applause. And Bill, if you would like to make a few comments, I'd be happy to turn the microphone over to you.
Well, this is just about the best job I ever had. It's an absolute pleasure to work with so many good scholars and to be able to turn around and work with them, just as Brooke Lefevre said earlier on. But it's not entirely my honor. I would like for everyone who has served on the John Whitmer Historical Association Journal editorial board, please stand. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill, very much. One last thing, and congratulations. Let's have one more round of applause for all the award recipients. Okay, to conclude the ceremony, we're going to do one more door prize drawing. So get your tickets out if you have them. And this is for Bound Journals of Restoration Studies, volumes 1 through 9. These are no longer in print. And Cheryl, are you going to come up here and pull the ticket? Sure. Okay, just so you know that there's no backrooms dealings happen here. I'm going to have a neutral person. And the number is 751454. 751454. Hey! Congratulations to McLean Heward. We're not going to give him a chance to speak on the microphone. But well done, McLean. Way to pick the right ticket. Thank you all. We will, oh, yes, I guess one last round of applause is justified. We invite you to finish your lunch. We'll conclude the lunch at 15 after and then move into our next session. Thank you all very much.